Hey everybody, welcome. Alright, so today I am going to be reviewing the record of the month from Vinyl Me Please. I've been listening to it for a little over a week now. Really enjoying it. Amazing pressing. Super excited it's in my collection. First time listening to this album from beginning to end, so that was a treat. I am of course talking about Moby's Play album. I let the shrink wrap on there. It wasn't on too tight. Usually I feel like it's just, I don't know, weird on the sleeve, but yeah, I left it on there, so excuse the glare. But we have that sleeve there. It's extra wide. It fits both of the LPs, which is awesome because I've received records that are supposed to be double LP and the sleeves are just not big enough to fit both of them. I don't know what they were thinking, but they took care of that problem there. And they also threw in like this cool embossed lettering on the play here and the button at the bottom, which I thought was really cool. It's kind of like Vinyl Me Please's signature now, for them to include little things like that. You kind of have to find them. So the hype sticker here says that it is re-recorded and newly remastered audio. Someone had commented on one of the posts on Facebook asking what that meant, because re-recorded sounds, I've never seen that before. And so apparently Moby went back in and re-recorded parts that he thought could have been better, that he wasn't too happy about, which is kind of cool, a bit of a perfectionist. Seeing as how it's being pressed to vinyl, there's a couple things that just needed some upgrading, I guess. So he went in and did that. So he was involved in the process, which is, again, really cool. It says here that it is a double LP, transparent turquoise color vinyl. It is amazing looking. I can't wait to show you that. And then it comes with two exclusive 12 by 12 inch art prints, which is cool because you get an exclusive print from Vinyl Me Please, which I will show you since we're on the topic. And then I'll show you the extra two that they sent in. Here it is. Just mind-boggling. I tried to kind of follow along to see what the artist had done here, and the more I looked into it, the more confused I became. It kind of just goes on for days. There's a lot of layers. So, I think that represents the music pretty nicely. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of complexity to it. It looks simple, but it's really not when you start to really pay attention. So yeah, really happy with this print. I felt like it covered what the album was pretty nicely. And then, of course, the other two prints that came with it. Let me show you here. This is Why Does My Heart Feel So Bad? I think that is the logo or the character for the label. Little Idiot Music, I think it's called. I don't know a whole lot about Moby, so I actually had to look up some stuff, and I found that this little image here was on the side of the backside here, next to the Vinyl Me Please exclusive stamp, and it said Idiot 61. So I was like, hey, what does that mean? So I'm guessing that's what that is. And then of course the other one here, Natural Blues. I really like that. Love some cassettes there. So yeah, so you get that, you get the print, and then let me show you, well, before I show you the records, here's also a little insert with all the records that are being released through the member store. They really put out some amazing stuff. Betty Davis, if you got her last album, I think it was sometime in the summer. I don't remember what month it was, but they had released one of her other albums, a self-titled one, the first one that she had done. This is Nasty Gal, which if I'm not mistaken is the last one that she did. I don't think it's been reissued. I think it was Light in the Attic who reissued it. They're working with them, I guess. This is limited to 1,000. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's not that label that's doing it. But I kind of want that if it's still available. The store opened January 16th, so if it's still up, jump on it. If you want $10 credit, give me your email and a comment or a message on any platform, Facebook, Instagram, preferably the social platforms, because YouTube sucks at sending me messages. Like I get it like 3 or 4 days later, or not at all. So anyways, they released a bunch of other music. You should definitely check it out. Go to the website. It's always linked in the description below, so you can check that out. Okay, so let me share with you what the records look like. I took them out so I can just show you. They're sort of interactive. They're like, whoops, upside down. There we go. They are much cooler upside down. This is kind of weird. It's like he's flying, like the flying nun or something. Anyways, they kind of fit into the sleeve, and you have the label on the inside. I'm gonna show you the record too. That sort of just fits like that. Beautiful translucent turquoise color, and then of course the back side that fits onto the other side of the sleeve. I don't think I have records that do that, so I love that. And I was having some fun kind of just fixing around. This one didn't quite fit like it was supposed to, but that's okay. And then this other one here, I put it in backwards actually. It's not supposed to be like that, but I think it looks pretty cool too. And here's the other one. But yeah, you got some notes here, the title, the songs. Again, just an amazing album. Really cool to listen to it for the first time, from beginning to end, on vinyl. I did some research, just videos on, I looked up some stuff of interviews that he did when the album came out, and how he was kind of like dealing with it then. And then I saw some interviews of him talking about it later on when, you know, time has passed, of course. And he did this interview with Larry King. It was broken into segments, but one of them, they talked specifically about the success of this album and how he had never been able to reach that success again. Which is like a really shitty question to ask someone. I think personally it's like, hey, you were really good back then, but you have never reached that level of success. Why? Why do you suck now, you know? And he actually had a pretty interesting answer. He had talked about how this album, I guess where he was, you know, this album was sort of like a last effort to put something out. He had lost his record deal. He was squatting in a warehouse. I think he said his mom had died around that time. Like, he was dealing with some really heavy stuff, and kind of just felt like, whatever, if I'm going to just put one last album out there, this is going to be it. And he said that this album was a lot of fun. It was innocent. There was something about the situation, you know, that pressure cooker situation that he was in, that kind of just gave him this clarity, and he put something out there that I think is timeless. And then, of course, you know, when they were interviewing him around the time that it was released, he was just really excited about the success that he was receiving for it. And, you know, he didn't necessarily reach that level of success because he felt like after this album, you know, the level had been set so high that he really tried hard to get there, but it was because he was trying so hard that he felt like he couldn't. Which I feel a lot of artists deal with all the time. Having to get that one hit single out there and then just not being able to reach that level anymore, and then kind of really questioning yourself. So I'm sure he dealt with a lot of serious like internal battles after this album was released. But I mean, I'm sure he is proud of the fact that this album will live on forever and will be played by people decades from now. I mean, it's been almost, what, 30 years since this was released? I think this was released in the like early 90s. I forgot to look. Like late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you know, it's been almost, what, 20 years, not 30. And I'm barely listening to it and enjoying it. I understand it. I appreciate it, you know. So a little bit about the music that I really liked. I love the samples. Or someone had mentioned in the comments, it wasn't necessarily sampling, like hip-hop type of sampling. He saw it as more of a full remix. Taking the actual song, kind of rearranging it, and just making it something new. He sprinkled in his piano, some synths. It's kind of got this house, like techno sound to it, so it's very danceable. And it keeps a certain pace, and it just fits so beautifully with the blues. I mean, I've heard the blues be fused with rock, with like hip hop, you know, and it kind of keeps that tempo. There's a lot of energy, and there's this rawness to it, and I think it just works beautifully with the techno music, the house sound that he put in there. Very 90s sounding keys. It got these classical keys, and he brings in some synths with kind of elevate the sample or the cut of the blues and the folk music that he put in there. Doesn't matter where you are. You can play this in your room, or you can play this in the car. It'll just make you happy. And there's some pretty sad songs in here, like Why Does My Heart Feel So Bad? But even then, it's still kind of uplifting, and because of the track and the beat and the way it was put together, you can't help but just kind of want to move. So even if you are feeling shitty and you're feeling sad and you want to reflect and kind of uplift yourself, I think that's a great way to do it. But yeah, like the first 3 songs, Porcelain, the 3rd song, being the one that I heard prior to this album, I'm sure everyone's heard this song by now. It's been used in movies and whatever for like the longest time. It's a really cool, like just amazing song. But yeah, like Find My Baby and Honey. Honey being similar to the song that I heard on Gone in 60 Seconds, which is kind of how I got into him in the first place. The first time I ever actually heard of him, period, wasn't even through his music. It was an interview in this magazine that I picked up in Mexico. I had some pesos left over and I didn't want to bring them back, so I was like, I'm just going to buy whatever I find in the airport. And I saw this magazine and it had a bunch of interviews. It was really kind of oversized magazine. And I flipped through it and I see him wearing what if I'm not mistaken, it was a Black Flag shirt. And he was talking about how hardcore music was a huge influence to him. And back then, I was still in high school, like that was a big thing to me. Hardcore punk, it still is. You know, Black Flag, Bad Brains, Reagan Youth, all those bands. So to hear that he had been influenced by that and he was playing or making techno, electric music was kind of crazy to me. But he took that same aesthetic and approach to music that these kids did back in the 80s, and I thought that was really cool. And because of that, he was able to create something that was just weird and different and exciting. So yeah, that really is captured here in this album. But yeah, I mean, I can recommend the whole album to you guys. It's a complete like beginning to end experience that you want to just listen to and enjoy. Definitely worth the time. Vinyl Me Please did a great job of releasing this album, pressing it and giving it the quality that it deserves. So again, hats off to you guys. I'm waiting for that release for the announcement for the release for February. They haven't done it yet, and it's already like the 22nd, 21st. I don't know what day I'm living in, but they haven't announced it yet. So keep an eye out for that. It should be exciting. Other than that, I don't feel like I can add more to this conversation. This album kind of speaks for itself. So if you haven't listened to it, jump on it. Get this copy if you can. I might still have it in the member store. Get at me with that credit if you want one. But yeah, there it is. You made it to the end. Thank you so much. I always appreciate you guys sticking to the end. Give this video a thumbs up if you think I deserve it. That helps me out. And follow me on any social media platform. Links are always in the description. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you guys on the next one.